Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Every single year, 500,000 Americans die due to hypertension, which is incredibly problematic. And we know that worldwide, when we think about hypertension, hypertension is the leading cause of cardiovascular mortality. It's estimated that 1.5 billion people worldwide suffer from hypertension. And we know in the United States, it is estimated that nearly half of the U.S. adults have hypertension, meaning that your blood pressure is elevated, which is really, really problematic. Now, we can link a lot of this to diet and lifestyle choices, and clearly we know in the United States, this is a major factor that leads to so many of the different chronic disease states, including cardiovascular disease. We also know that only 1 in 4 U.S. adults who have hypertension actually have their hypertension under control, which is once again incredibly problematic. So I want to talk about some ways that you can approach supporting healthy blood pressure in a natural way. And of course, we have to think about the other factors that come into play. We have to think about maintaining healthy weight. We have to think about staying active on a regular exercise routine. And of course, the importance of adhering to a healthy diet, not just a couple of days out of the week, but every single day. I'm Amanda Williams, MD, MPH, and today I want to talk about how you can go about approaching blood pressure and do it with things from nature. And this is really quite important because we know that when we're looking at those statistics, which are incredibly alarming, that half of the U.S. population, adults in the U.S., have high blood pressure, and only a quarter of those folks have that blood pressure under control. And we know that when it comes to high blood pressure medications, certainly they are widely prescribed. And most people who have hypertension are usually on multiple pharmacotherapy treatment for this. So meaning you go into your doctor and they maybe start you on one high blood pressure medication, but yet you then find out you need to add an additional one, and then maybe sometimes a third one or fourth one, which is really quite alarming when you think about it. Like, one drug should be enough. And many people who are on high blood pressure medications are on 2 to 3 just to try to stabilize a healthy blood pressure. Well, part of that problem comes down to not also modifying the dietary changes that are required to support healthy blood pressure, but also the exercise aspect to that. And we cannot overlook the role that drug-induced nutrient depletion plays, which is really quite critical because at the end of the day, if you're taking a medication that is supposed to be helping for one thing, but at the same time is creating even more additional havoc, for example, then that is certainly a problem. And you can look at many of the commonly prescribed medications for high blood pressure, and you can start to see that correlation. When you look at, beta blocker drugs, and you look at thiazide diuretics, which are both very commonly prescribed, and we see the different nutrients that start to get depleted over time, which can exacerbate hypertension or actually make your high blood pressure worse. So there's a lot of different moving factors or moving parts when it comes to high blood pressure. Certainly, we can even look at different areas. When you look at the prevalence of hypertension throughout the United States, there are certain areas throughout the U.S. where hypertension is much greater. And obviously, when they look at those different factors, food and lifestyle certainly come into play with that. But let's talk a little bit about things that you can be doing or incorporate into a daily routine that can be very supportive. And we know that things like olive leaf extract, for example, have been studied extensively because they have recognized that olive leaf extract works in a similar mechanism to many of the prescribed medications that are out there. Some of the commonly prescribed medications, as I mentioned, are things like beta blockers or the thiazide diuretics, but also there's a class of drugs known as ACE inhibitors. And the ACE inhibitors, which is an angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. So when we think about the different things in the body that are actually regulating our blood pressure normally, the ACE inhibitor drugs actually are blocking that particular pathway to try to better support the regulation of blood pressure. Now we know that olive leaf extract happens to function in a very, very similar way. So it's kind of like nature mimicking a synthetic drug in a sense. And the one way in which we know that the olive leaf extract has been very beneficial in doing that is this really powerful constituent that is derived from the olive leaf itself, which is known as aleuropine. And it is this aleuropine that has a really powerful impact on promoting healthy blood pressure. And there have been multiple different clinical trials out there where they have given people who have high blood pressure olive leaf extract, and it has shown to be incredibly beneficial when it comes to the regulation of both the systolic, which is your top number of blood pressure, as well as the diastolic. So now the interesting thing with the aleuropine that is derived from the olive leaf extract is not only is it beneficial in the setting of that blood pressure regulation, they have also recognized that it has these powerful antioxidants in it, which also yield an additional layer of benefit when it comes to maintaining healthy cholesterol. So that's certainly key. And they have also looked at it in terms of the endothelial lining. So when we think about arterial stiffness that can occur over time because of endothelial dysfunction, we now recognize through clinical research that olive leaf extract can support the cardiovascular system on multiple different mechanisms. So why do I bring this up? Because I like people to be aware of the fact that there are many things that are in nature that can promote and yield us very positive health benefits, including things such as celery seed extract. And we know that the celery seed extract, once again, has these really powerful active constituents that support the ability for the body to release natural nitric oxide, for example, which helps with the vasodilation. So if we think about vasoconstriction, what happens is the blood vessels tighten up, which makes it harder for the blood to be able to push through there. So hence, that would make sense. It would raise your blood pressure. Well, we know that celery seed extract does a really nice job with that vasodilation function. So it allows for the blood vessels to be more open, hence we're getting better blood flow through those vessels. So multiple studies now have been conducted in human clinical trials that have shown that people who utilize olive leaf extract along with celery seed extract do a really good job in terms of helping to support a healthy blood pressure response in the body. Now, in the Journal of Natural Medicine, they took a group of middle-aged patients who had mild to moderate hypertension, and they were giving them roughly 75 milligrams of celery seed extract every single day. And within the time frame or the time setting of that actual study, they noticed a sharp decline in their blood pressure. So even after just 3 weeks of giving these folks who had hypertension 75 milligrams of celery seed extract every single day, they found this drop downwards of 8 to 10 points. So that's really a pronounced drop. And understanding what we do know about hypertension and the fact that that is the leading cause of cardiovascular mortality, we should be really focused on making sure that we are doing the right things to maintain healthy blood pressure throughout our lives. And this is a nice way to go about doing that. So we have a particular product called Normotensive. And within the Normotensive, this is this comprehensive vascular support formulation. It contains olive leaf extract along with the celery seed extract. Now, interestingly, I want to point out the fact that the human clinical trials have shown that 75 milligrams of celery seed extract is what yields that positive benefit when it comes to blood pressure support. The Normotensive formulation contains 75 milligrams. So you will see that our products mimic those clinical research trials. So if the clinical research is showing 75 milligrams is the amount that one needs to yield that support, then of course that is what we are going to include into our formula. We're not going to put, oh, well, let's just put 25 milligrams in. No, we see that the clinical science indicates that 75 milligrams is that key amount. So that is what we have in our formulation. Now, this also contains that olive leaf extract that I was talking about that contains that aleuropine. And we know it's the power of that aleuropine that provides so much of that benefit. Now, within this formulation, we also include things such as cocoa bean extract and pomegranate extract and grapeseed extract. And the grapeseed extract that is in our Normotensive formulation is a registered trademark form called Mega Natural BP. So this particular grapeseed extract has been studied in human clinical trials to show its efficacy when it comes to the support and regulation of blood pressure. So this is a fabulous blend. It also contains magnesium. Now, why is magnesium important? Because we know that magnesium is one of the major regulators of blood pressure. And we also know that most Americans are deficient in magnesium, which obviously would then put you at a greater risk of having a hard time with maintaining healthy blood pressure throughout the day. So these are the reasons why when we look at things that we should be doing when it comes to supporting our blood pressure, we have to look no further than things from nature, which is why I really love the Normotensive formulation, because it's doing just that. It's providing us this very important mineral that we know most people are deficient in. It is providing us with these wonderful nutrients that come directly from nature. Olive leaf extract, that celery seed extract, cocoa bean extract, which we know, once again, the powerful flavonols within the cocoa itself do so much to fend off oxidative stress that can lead to damage of our vascular lining. So having that cocoa on board is also very important. And we also have a registered trademark pomegranate extract in this as well. So it's called P40P. And that, once again, has been studied to show its overall efficacy when it comes to cardiovascular health. Now, this also contains Hawthorne extract along with Arjuna. Now, the reason why these two are included into this particular product is because we know that Hawthorne is this natural way in which the body can utilize it as what is known as a cardiotonic, which is important because when we look at the cardiac contractility, the way that the heart muscle itself is actively contracting and pumping, this is very important because if the heart itself is not pumping properly, then we're going to have a hard time with getting adequate blood pumping in and out of the heart. So Hawthorne extract, which is utilized in many European countries as a natural but yet prescribed way to help to support cardiovascular disease. And this is something that we have in America as a supplementation. So it's just something that I think is really quite interesting. So the Hawthorne extract along with the Arjuna gives this added benefit in terms of these really powerful biologically active molecules, these flavonoids and these polyphenols that help to fend off not only that oxidative stress, but are also playing a role in terms of easing inflammation as well as really providing more of a stabilization when it comes to endothelial support as well as that cardiac contractility. So both the Hawthorne and the Arjuna are considered to be these cardiotonics. So they help to bolster up that normal heart function, which is really, really quite important. And you look at things like hypertension, we look at coronary heart disease, we can look at congestive heart failure, and we see the rampant prevalence of these forms of heart disease throughout the United States. And we also realize that we are so much lacking in many of these key nutrients from our diet because most people are not getting these powerful polyphenols and important minerals from their dietary intake. So by adding in normotensive, we are getting this broad spectrum approach with all of these scientifically validated nutrients that have been shown to be incredibly efficacious when it comes to maintaining and supporting healthy blood pressure. So I definitely encourage you to go to our website and check out our normotensive formulation. And let me just run through it again. It has magnesium, it has hawthorn extract, olive leaf extract, grape seed extract, pomegranate extract, cocoa extract, celery seed extract, as well as that Arjuna. So it's a great formulation, a really good way to be proactive into helping to support your body's natural regulation of blood pressure. So that is all that I have for you for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Invite Health Podcast. Remember, you can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Now, do make sure that you subscribe and you leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health Podcast.